Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation. I have a project that I want to share with you and I think you're going to really like it. This is a card that I saw. It is not my own tutorial, but I did do some tweaking with it, and so I thought I would show you some hints and tips and things like that. I will put a link down below to the original tutorial that I saw. It was in centimeters, and so that's why I'm doing this, because I did figure out how to convert it into, inches. And I also wanted to show you a couple hints and tips. So this is a great card. I made these birthday cards, and I'll put a link down below. The papers are by Doodlebug, and I did win these from Country Craft Creations, but I am using artisan cardstock also from Country Craft Creations. So I'll put the links down below so you can get those. The pattern paper, I don't know that that is on their website or not, but the artisan cardstock definitely is. Except for this pink. This pink is now not in the store, but the yellow, the banana split that I used on these is. So anyways, I'll have links down below, and then I also have red paper that I'm going to use for the tutorial. So anyway, what this card is, it's really cute, and I just did, kind of a birthday theme. On the back, I did do an envelope out of pattern paper. I'm going to show you how I did that, and I did add that to the card so that you could put like a gift card in here. Added the little piece here with a little bit of extra cardstock, and then the flap just closes under there to keep it all nice and secure. So I added that to the card because the inside of the card is pretty interactive. So it's like a dual pop out mechanism that is really cool. The single pop outs where you only have these panels here have been out for a long time. This is just an added piece to it, but it's really cool, and I thought I would just show you how I did it. So I brought two examples because I wanted to show you. With this one, I did not cover the back side with pattern paper. I just used strips of leftover pattern paper to fill in the blanks, and that'll make more sense when we make the card. On this one here, so I'll show you this card. Now this card does not have an envelope on the back. I just put pattern paper on there. But when this one, with this one here, I did go ahead and put pattern paper on the back. So it makes it a little bit easier when it comes to decorating because this piece is already done. So I'm going to show you that way first. And I'll talk to you through that as we go. And then I also figured out a great way to figure out how to cover the little triangle pieces here, because that was kind of a bear to figure out, but I've got a trick for you. So cute card, really fun, interactive. You can have your place for sentiment here. You can add more, things to, make the cards pop. I thought this would be really fun to show you. So the papers that I'm using today are leftovers from a virtual retreat that I did quite a while ago, back in 22, and I had some papers. So this is Santa Claus Lane, Echo Park. So again, it was 1922. It was 2022. And, oh my gosh. And so I had some leftovers and so I'm going to use this. So we're going to have a Christmas card too. So this is going to be kind of my second Christmas project for July. So there you have it. The pieces that you're going to need for your cardstock: one at 6 1/4 by 9 1/2. That's your card base. You'll need two pieces that are 1 1/2 by 4 3/4. Two pieces that are 4 5/8 by 3/4, and then two pieces that are 3 1/16 by 3/4. So that 1/16 is just a little bit shy of an eighth. So it's right in between 3 and 3 1/8 on your ruler. And then for the envelope on the back, we are going to do this for this one. You'll need a piece of pattern paper that's 7 by 10 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here, and here are all of the pieces, and then we'll get your scoring tool. Let's actually put these here, and we're going to go ahead and put the 6 1/4 by 9 1/2 inch in your scoreboard with the 9 1/2 at the top. You'll score at 4 3/4, and that just makes your card base. Okay, so that's pretty simple to do right there. So there's that. We'll do all the scoring, and then we'll get to everything else. The second piece is the 1 1/2 by 4 3/4. This is the mechanism that makes this whole thing work. So you'll do two of these. You'll put in your scoreboard at 1 1/2 and score down the middle at 3/4. Okay. Then what I did was you need to create these kind of score lines that are in an X position. So I stuck it in my scoreboard, and you can either do it like this, or you can grab a pencil and a ruler and do it that way. But I just measured to 1.5, and I just made kind of just a little indentation with my bone folder just to know where that is. And then I turned it around, and then if you go 1.5 inches in this way, it's at 3.25. So just put just a little indent in there. And again, you can just use a pencil as well. But then what you're going to do is you're going to line up that indent with the corner here, and you're going to just score down, and then you're going to turn it and line up that corner with the indent that you made on the other side and score it. So what you should have, and ignore my pencil X's for a minute, is you should have this X here and then a long score down the middle, okay? You're going to do that with both of these. And then once you do that, you're going to grab your scissors, and on these, if I show them to you both at the same time, we're going to cut them, but you're going to do them in the opposite manner. So on one of them, you're going to cut this bottom big triangle and this side triangle. You're going to cut that completely out. And on the other one, you're going to cut the top ones. So I'm just going to take on this side, and this X, again, is only on the one end of this piece. And you're going to cut that out like so, okay? So you have a piece like that. And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to cut the opposite sides out like this. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep one of these because I got something to show you with that in just a second. So just put one of these pieces that you cut out, it doesn't matter which one, off to the side for now. Okay. So these two pieces, and then when you get those done, you're just going to fold and burnish both of these pieces, okay? When you fold this down, just try and make sure everything's nice and straight. And then when you fold this guy down, make sure it's nice and straight against that edge there, okay? So there's one piece done. Then just fold it in half, okay? Fold that down, make sure everything's nice and straight, and then fold this. Okay, and that's all there is to that, the two mechanisms, okay? The next two pieces you're going to need are two that are 4 5/8 by 3.25, okay? They're little thin pieces, so 3.25, 4 5/8. So we're going to score 3/4 inch here, and then on each end. So if you want to turn it and score it at 3/4 inch, you can do that. Or you can put them in your scoreboard with the 4 5/8 at the top. You can score at 3/4 and at 3 7/8, and you don't have to turn. So again, these are just 3/4 inch squares that we just created on the ends. Then what I'm going to do before I put anything else down is I'm going to cut about 1/16 inch off each end. And that's just going to help everything fit a little bit nicer, okay? So just take, and off those ends, just take about 1/16 inch off, okay? And that way, again, there's no fussing with trying to do weird measurements and all that stuff, okay? So we have two of those. Then these two pieces here, these are the 3 1/16 by 3/4. So if you look at your ruler here, I'll use my scissors to point. So you have your 3 here and you have your 1/8 inch here. You want to place it on your cutter like right in between, halfway in between that 3 and 1/8. We're just going to just get it a little bit shy of 3/8 or 3 1/8 inch, okay? So those two pieces there. And then the last two pieces you need are your pages, and you will need two that are, oh, I forgot to write that down. I didn't write that down. Let's write that down really quick. Two that are 3 1/8 by 7. Okay, those are your pages. I totally forgot to write those down. I'm so sorry. Okay, so 7 at the top, we're going to score at 3 1/8. Okay, on both of those pieces. All right, now's how we're going to put it together. I am so excited to show you. This is so fun. Okay, so we have our card base, and the first thing that we probably should do on the top is just go ahead and decorate the front. So again, this is Artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. This is a green cardstock that I had in my stash, so I'm just going to use that. I thought it matched the colors. Right. So I just cut the mats 1/4 of an inch smaller than the piece that it's covering. Okay, so because of how I'm doing this particular one, the card itself is 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. So I cut this green mat at 6 by 4 1/2. Okay. And then I wanted to go down another layer. So I'm using this pattern paper here. Again, these were just scraps. So this is kind of a fun scrap project too if you don't have a whole lot left over. So I cut this one again down 1/4 of an inch smaller. So this one here measured 5 3/4, 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. And then my last layer for the front of my card is this 4 by 6 journal card, and I cut it down to 5 1/2, and it is by 4. Okay, so I just trim the sides a little bit by 1/4 of an inch to make it 5 1/2 by 4, and that's going to go in the middle. So that's the front of my card. All right, and it's just easier to do that now than when it gets bulky with all the mechanisms inside. So that's why you want to do that now. We can open it up and put the envelope on later, or we could do that now, and I might just choose to do that now and just get it done. Okay, so there's the front of our card. So far so good. It's really, really cute. Now let's grab our pattern paper here. So we have pattern paper here. This is for the envelope. It's 7 by 10. We're going to put it in the scoreboard with the 7 at the top. We're going to score at 1/2 and at 6 1/2. Okay, and then turn it to the side, and you're going to score at 3 inches at the top, like so, and then you're going to score at 3 inches from the bottom, so that's at 7 1/2. Okay, like so. Okay, now depending on which one you want on the front and the back, I want this on the outside of my envelope. Okay, so this is going to be the inside of my envelope. If you have directional paper on one side, you need to look at that, because the flap, when you open it up, you want the direction to go up. Okay, so I want this to be the flap here, I want this to be the bottom, and this is going to just fold up and create my envelope. Okay, so I just want the insides to be in the correct orientation. So I'm just going to tab that bottom 3-inch panel, and then I'm going to cut straight up. I'm going to get my bigger scissors here, and I'm going to turn it over so I can see it a little bit better for myself. But I'm just going to cut that 1/2-inch tab completely out, because we don't need it on the body of the envelope or the flap. Okay, so this will be the bottom, and then here's my flap. So I just cut that 1/2-inch and then tabbed this. So I'm going to repeat on the other side here. I'm just going to tab that and cut that 1/2-inch notch out, or 1/2-inch score, I should say, straight up. Okay, we can get rid of this, and then we can grab a corner rounder. I corner rounded, and I'm going to grab my 1-inch one here. I like this one. It gives a kind of a wider curve there, so we're going to do that. Then we're going to grab a circle punch, and then with your circle punch, I'm going to eyeball this in the center, and then just take out just a little notch there, and that's all I'm going to do. You can use any size circle punch you want. So fold and burnish your score lines. Okay, so you can see that's the inside of the envelope. When you fold this down, that's where the flap is going to go. Okay, and then I did prepare my little closure here, and I'm going to put that on, but I'll wait to the end of this so I can keep it as flat as I can while we're working on our card. Okay, so I'm just going to open that up. The circle closure is just, you know, whatever circle sizes you want and whatever paper you want. And it's just a means to tag, or, you know, to kind of place the flap of the envelope behind so that it keeps it closed, okay? Obviously, this is all gonna go into an envelope as well. Okay, so there is our envelope, and this is going to go on the back of our card right here. So I'm just going to put glue on the back and glue it on there, and then that is going to cover the back of this envelope just like perfectly, okay? Like so. Okay, so there's that. All right, so we have that. Now the inside of the card, let's work on that. So I got 2 pieces of pattern paper that I want to use for the inside of my card. Let's make sure I got this. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, so I just cut these at 6 by 4.5. So these are gonna go on next. If you know, you want to go ahead and make this the easiest way. This is the easiest way to cover the inside of the card because you're done, basically, except for adding your sentiment. You're done if you do it this way, okay? Otherwise, when you put the mechanism on, if you don't cover this right now, you'll have to go back and cut a strip for here, your sentiment piece, and then your strip down here. So like, for example, we're going to cover it. So it's going to be completely done and we're done. Once we put this on, then we just have to add the pieces on top of it and we're done. But like I said, if you don't cover this, if you put the mechanism on, you're going to have to go back, cut strips that go up here and strips that go down here, and then add your piece in the middle. Okay, does it make sense? Hope it makes sense. So we're going to just go ahead and cover it because that is the easiest thing to do. And I like the look. It's very nice. So I'm using the wood like I did on the back of the card because I really like it. Okay, adding my glue. I do recommend, you could use, you know, score tape on this part if you want, but on the mechanism itself, I do recommend that you use glue so that everything stays nice and perfect and beautiful, okay? And it holds better and no chance of it getting messed up, okay? So inside of our card is done. So the next thing we need to do is our mechanism. So we're gonna grab these 2 pieces right here, okay? Now, how this is gonna go is that the mechanism is going to the short side here. If you look how we're folding it, the short side is going to go here, okay? It's gonna glue to this side. So if you're looking at it folded, like so, you got the short side here, it's going to go on the right side, and then on this side, the short side will go on the left, okay? So this is how we're going to orient them. So I'm gonna take my piece, I wanna glue this side down like this. And when you glue it down, this edge will go right to the edge of the card, and this point needs to be right in the fold of that card, okay? So you have to be careful and make sure that it's placed correctly or else this isn't going to work, okay? So I'm putting my glue, I'm gonna turn it sideways so I can see. I'm gluing the short side down. I'm gonna make sure it's right to the edge of the card. And I'm gonna make sure the point of all those triangle scores that we made are like right in the score of this piece, okay? And take your time with this and make sure that it is burnished down and adhered well, okay? Then what you're gonna do, okay, so we got it down. Once that's down, we're going to fold this guy over, okay? So that little triangle there, gonna fold to the inside. We're going to put glue here, and then you're going to fold that over and then glue that, and that should glue right to the top edge of that card, okay? Glue that down and let that sit. And then sometimes when you fold triangles, you do get a little bit of a nub in here. We want to make sure that everything is nice and glued down, okay? And that's real important. Don't play with it till it dries. Second side, again, we're going to put glue on this piece here. Okay. And again, I'm going to put a little bit more on the edge. I just want to make sure that this glues down nice. You don't want too much, but you don't want too little either, okay? So again, we're going to, where that point of all the triangles are, that needs to be at the score of the card on the inside. So we need to put this to the edge down here on this side. Okay, and then make sure that that is right there in the point, okay? Make sure everything is burnished well. Okay, so when that's open, now we got to flip this guy back down. Okay, we're going to put glue just on that little tiny triangle right here. Okay, and then we're going to fold that piece over so that triangle will glue right to the top of the card. Okay. All right, I'm gonna make sure that little nubbin is off because I don't like that. Let that sit for a minute, okay? While that sits, we're going to prepare a couple of other things. So we are going to need to cover this triangle and cover a little bit of this piece here. And I figured out a really cool way of doing it. So these pieces here are 1/2 inch by 3. You don't need much because most of this is going to be covered, but this is a 1/2 inch wide. This is where this piece that we saved comes in handy, okay? So when we cut this off, we have the bigger triangle and then we have a smaller triangle. We want that smaller triangle, so I'm just going to cut that off, okay? I'm going to keep that smaller little triangle. So now that we have this little triangle, what we're going to do is we're going to put it like in the orientation of this big triangle here, so it should be kind of side lying, you see that. Then we're going to take it and we're going to put it on the piece of paper. I'm going to try and line this up nice. I'm going to grab a little clip, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that triangle out, okay, and then, okay, so we have that little piece cut. This piece will lay right here just perfectly, and then this piece that we cut out will lay right here perfectly, okay? So it doesn't matter that this piece isn't covering the whole entire piece because the pages are going to cover it, so we just need enough to cover the top of that angle. So then I'm just going to lay this down like this, right in the middle. That should cover that triangle just perfect. And it is a little wonky to glue, you know, but it works. It works. And I think it does add a little something. If you don't want to cover that, you definitely do not have to. But if you do, this is a great way of doing it, okay? And then I'm just going to lay that down right there. And again, the page is going to cover the rest of that, okay? But it just gives a little bit of something to that mechanism, okay? So the other side, again, we're going to do the same thing, but we need to turn the triangle the other direction, right? So we're going to line that up again. And I'm going to clip it so I can hold it a little easier, okay? Cut that top piece off to get that angle. Cut the bottom piece. Here we go. We have our little triangle for here, and then we have our piece for here. So then we can just glue this on. So that was my little trick I wanted to show you. We can use that piece as a pattern, and it works out absolutely like perfect. It's a great little trick, and it does give you the proper kind of dimensions to cover that up, okay? Take this little piece that we cut off first and glue that down. I'm having other issues too. I got a split in my thumb, so that's why I got the kiwi band-aid on it. Figured if I'm gonna wear band-aids, it might as well be cute, right? Okay, so now, so you can see kind of up close. That's what it looks like. Okay, and then our mechanism should be glued down, and then we should be able to fold it. Okay, and then we can go ahead and make sure everything's burnished, but then our mechanism should be glued, and it should open just like that. Okay, and you can see where that little triangle is glued to the top part of the card, and then we have this other piece of the mechanism that's glued here. Okay, so next thing we need to do is add our little supports. Okay, so we're going to grab all these little pieces here that we had. Okay, these just get folded and burnished like so, and then we're going to take that second piece that wasn't scored, and we're just going to put glue here, and we're going to glue that right in the middle, and that'll just help give it more support and strengthen it. Okay, so we're just going to glue this right in the middle, and that is why we cut it at 1/16, so it fits right in between those scores nice and pretty. Okay, then you don't have to worry about it being too long and messing up your score lines. Okay, so there's one. Have our other one like so. Okay, glue. And that goes right in between those score lines, like so. So now we just have a really nice strengthened mechanism here. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and glue these to the mechanism. Now, to get it kind of in the center of the page, what I did was I went up about 1 3/4 inches from the bottom of my card. Okay, we've got our mechanism here. So we're going to put glue on the outside here on one of these tabs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this from the side, and I'm just going to line it up about 1 3/4, and that just kind of centers it within the page. I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to kind of just glue it down. And I'll show you in just a second what that looks like. But basically, it's glued to the top of the mechanism right on the inside, and it kind of will fold over that mechanism right there. Okay, does that make sense there? And this is why we cut a little extra piece off, because we didn't want it to be too wide and then stick out too far on the side of the card. Okay, so that's why we cut that little tiny piece off. So we're going to turn and we're going to do it again. So again, we're going to put glue on that little tab. And I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going about, again, 1 3/4 inches up from the bottom, and I'm just going to lay that down. Then that will kind of center in the page. That's why I'm measuring that, okay? And then again, you can see how it's glued right there. Okay? All right, next thing to do, grab our pages. We'll fold and burnish, and you'll notice that one is 3 1/8, and one is 3 7/8. The 3 7/8 go to the outside, so the smaller ones go to the inside. Okay, so one will go on this side, one will go on this side. So the first thing we're going to do, fold that open. We're going to take this page, and what we're going to do is glue it right to the top of that mechanism, right to the edge of that mechanism, down at the bottom and on the side. Okay, don't put it too far in. You want it right on top, right to the edge, but not like over the edge. Does that make sense? And this is why you need to cover, or you can cover, you don't need to, but you can cover, and you'll see that all of this is covered up anyway, so we just want it long enough to be underneath here. Okay, so the strips can be, you know, shorter, but you do want to cover that up, okay, because those will stick out. Okay, so how I did this was I wanted to make sure that I got glue everywhere that I needed to, so I just kind of used my page as a measurement and put it to the side. Put glue down the mechanism, like so. And then I'm putting that right to the bottom edge of the mechanism and right to the edge of that. Okay, so right to the edge. And gluing that down. Okay. Then you're going to carefully lift this up. See if I can get it to where I can show you. You're going to fold this over, okay? And we're going to put glue on that little tab. Okay, so with everything flat, I want to make sure that little tab is flat. So I'm going to hold it with my finger and kind of just lay this down. I want to make sure that everything is flat, and I'm going to just glue that down. And it should glue right under here, right to that side of that fold. You don't want it past that score here. You want that little tab on the other side, okay? So it should look like this when you get it done. Okay, and again, that's why I cut the little piece off, just to make sure that it didn't get into the score. It just glues right before the edge of the score, and it will lay down completely flat. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. The smaller one's going to be on the side, or on the middle, and the longer one's going to be to the side. So I'm just going to use this as a kind of just a measurement to show how far to put the glue up here. I'm going to do that. Okay, then just going to lay that right on top of that mechanism. Okay, so it's not going past the bottom of it, and it's not going past that mid section of it. All right, then we're going to lift this up ever so gently, and we're going to put that square down, or fold that square in, I should say. I'm going to hold that down flat. I'm going to lay that down right like so. Okay, so then our card should do this. And when it goes down, now the first time you may have to kind of push it down, and it will pop up just a little bit, but it's going to get thick with the pattern papers that we're going to put on there, but then it'll open like that. Okay? And it should close like so and be absolutely cool. So the next thing to do, I cut this out. I wanted to put this on my card at the top here. And then I cut pattern papers. So I cut a piece each for here. So this is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. This is 2 7/8 by, what did I cut it at? 3 5/8, okay? So we have 2 pieces here, just for little decorations, and then you could go ahead and you could put, you know, stickers or whatever. And then I got my sentiment piece for the inside. So I cut this at 3 1/8 by 4 1/2, and this is 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. Okay, I'm gonna decorate, put these on the card, and then I'll be back. Okay, I have my card done, and I think it looks really cute. So this is a cut apart on the front, and I just left it. It's pretty thick as it is, especially with the envelope on it, so it looks really good. The back here is the envelope here, and it's just tucked behind that little piece that I glued down, and then you can put, you know, money, gift cards, you know, whatever you want, and that will keep it nice and contained. And then on the inside, I kept it pretty simple. So I added a sticker to the holiday cheer. I did go ahead and corner round up here just to give it a little something something. And I added this cute little sticker here. There's plenty of room to write your sentiment, and I just think it's really fun. This is also going to be fun if you send it to like grandma and grandpa. You could put pictures here, and what a great greeting that would be, having grandbabies' pictures in a Christmas card. I just think that's adorable. And then when it closes up, it just closes up nice and tidy, and there you have it. So that is what I wanted to share with you today with my hints and tips in putting it into, you know, inches instead of centimeters. And I had fun with this card. This is a really fun card to do. And once you get the hang of it, like, I made all of these cards like super, super, super fast. So I think you're going to like it as much as I do. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you do try this. It's really great. Check out the links that I have below, and I will see you again soon with more tutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.